The rise and fall and rise again of Justin Bieber. Picture this, a 12-year-old kid from a small Canadian town sitting on the steps of a theater in Stratford, Ontario. He's got a beat-up acoustic guitar that's probably worth less than the sneakers he's wearing. He's strumming away, singing his heart out, completely unaware that someone's filming him. That someone? His mom. And that innocent little video? Well, it's about to change everything. But here's the thing about meteoric rises. They're called meteors for a reason. They burn bright, they fall fast, and sometimes they find a way to rise again. This is the story of Justin Bieber, and honestly, it's wilder than fiction. The Stratford. Justin Drew Bieber entered the world on March 1st, 1994 in London, Ontario. Not the London with Big Ben and bad weather, the other one, the quieter one. He grew up in Stratford, a town so charming it makes maple syrup commercials look gritty. His mom, Patty, raised him as a single parent. Money was tight, like really tight, the kind of tight where you learn to appreciate every single thing you have. But Justin had something special, not just talent. Lots of kids have talent. He had this thing where music just made sense to him. Piano, drums, guitar, trumpet. If it made noise, he could figure it out. By the time he was 12, Justin was busking outside the Avon Theater in Stratford. Tourists would toss him a few dollars. Locals would stop and listen. His mom would film these performances and upload them to this relatively new platform called YouTube. Not for fame, not for fortune, just so relatives could see what he was up to. But the internet, as we all know, works in mysterious ways. A man named Scooter Braun was sitting in his office in Atlanta. He was a marketing executive managing a few artists living his life. He clicked on one of Justin's videos by accident. He was actually looking for a different singer, but there was this kid singing Aretha Franklin's Respect, and Scooter stopped scrolling. He tracked down Patty through YouTube messages. At first, she thought it was a scam, because of course she did. Some random guy on the internet wants to fly your teenage son to Atlanta. That's not how real life works. That's how crime documentaries start. But Scooter was persistent. Eventually, Patty and Justin flew down. They met with Scooter, and then Scooter made a phone call to someone he knew, someone named Usher. Now, if you're a 12 or 13-year-old kid and Usher Raymond walks into the room, you're probably going to lose your mind. Justin's setting for him, right there, impromptu audition, and Usher, who'd been a child star himself, recognized something in this kid from Canada. Within weeks, Justin Bieber had a record deal. Bieber Fever. The year 2009 changed everything. Justin's debut single, One Time, dropped, and teenagers everywhere collectively lost their ability to think about anything else. His debut album, My World, went platinum, not just once, multiple times. Let's be clear about what happened here. This wasn't just success. This was a cultural phenomenon. Teenage girls were camping outside radio stations. They were creating elaborate fan art. Twitter was practically renamed Justin Bieber Twitter. The term belieber entered the vocabulary. His hair became a trending topic. That swoopy side bang, kids everywhere were trying to replicate it. Hairdressers were showing up to work, and 12-year-old boys were asking for the Bieber. But here's where things get complicated, because Justin was still just a kid with bodyguards and sold-out arenas, sure, but a kid nonetheless. He was growing up in real time in front of millions of people, with cameras documenting every move. Baby came out in 2010 featuring Ludacris. It became one of the most watched videos on YouTube. It also became one of the most disliked videos on YouTube, which tells you something about how polarizing he'd become. You either loved Justin Bieber or you felt personally offended by his existence. There was no middle ground. He dated Selena Gomez. The internet nearly exploded. Their relationship was dissected frame by frame, lyric by lyric. Every breakup was front page news. Every reunion was analyzed like it was international diplomacy. And through it all, Justin was trying to figure out who he was, which is hard enough when you're a teenager. It's exponentially harder when you're doing it under stadium lights. The descent. Around 2013, things started to shift. The sweet Canadian kid image began to crack. Justin was photographed leaving a nightclub at questionable hours. He showed up late to concerts. There was an incident with a pet monkey in Germany. Yes, a monkey. He abandoned it at customs. The monkey's name was Mally, if you're curious. Then came the egging incident. Justin allegedly threw eggs at his neighbor's house in Calabasas, causing thousands of dollars in damage. Eggs. Expensive eggs, apparently. There was drag racing in Miami. There was vandalism. There were leaked videos of him making offensive jokes. Each incident added another layer to a narrative that was spinning rapidly out of control. The press had a field day. Every tabloid ran stories about the troubled pop star. Every late-night show made jokes. The kid who'd been America's sweetheart was now America's punchline. But here's what nobody was really talking about. Justin was drowning. He said it himself years later. He was struggling with depression, anxiety, and substance use. He was surrounded by people, but utterly alone. He had everything except the one thing he needed: stability. His behavior wasn't excusable, but it was understandable. He'd spent his entire adolescence performing, literally and figuratively. He'd never had the chance to just be a normal teenager, to make mistakes in private, to grow up without millions of people watching. The Purpose World Tour in 2017 was supposed to be his redemption arc, and it was successful, hugely successful. But midway through, Justin canceled the remaining dates. He was exhausted, mentally, physically, spiritually drained. He disappeared from the spotlight. The comeback. Here's where the story gets good again. Justin Bieber took time to actually heal, not the performative "I'm taking a break" that celebrities sometimes do before showing up 2 weeks later. Real time. He went to therapy. He got serious about his faith. He reconnected with family and old friends. In 2018, he married Haley Baldwin, not a splashy televised affair, a courthouse ceremony in New York, simple, honest, real. And then in 2020, he released Changes. It wasn't his biggest album commercially, but it showed growth, it showed vulnerability, it showed a man who'd looked himself in the mirror and decided to do better. His documentary series, Seasons, gave fans an unprecedented look at his struggles. He talked openly about his addiction issues, his mental health, his regrets. It wasn't sanitized. It wasn't PR spin. It was raw. Lonely, his collaboration with Benny Blanco, hit different. The lyrics about being 13 in a recording studio, about fame feeling hollow, about missing his old life, you could hear the weight of those years in his voice. Justin started being honest about his journey with Lyme disease. He showed his imperfections. He stopped trying to be the perfect pop star and started being a real human being sharing his story. And something remarkable happened. People started listening again, not just to the music, but to him. So what's the moral of this story, if there is one? Maybe it's that we're too quick to build people up and tear them down. Maybe it's that child stardom is a terrible experiment we keep running on kids. Maybe it's that redemption is possible if you're willing to do the work. Justin Bieber's story isn't over. He's still creating music, still navigating life in the public eye, still figuring things out, but he's doing it with more honesty than before, more humility, more grace. The kid from Stratford who sang on theater steps for tourist dollars grew up. He made mistakes, he fell hard, and then he got back up. That's the journey. That's the story. And somehow, against all odds, he made us believe again.